Hello, my Nollywood movie fans. Now, what we have here is a case of The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm talking about the movie Test of Fate, and it's starring Frederick Leonard, Uche Montana, and Cynthia Clarke. So please hit that like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So this movie opens up with Pastor King, played by Frederick, and Damsel, played by Cynthia. And they're alone and up to no good because the pastor and damsel are doing, shall we say, dirty deeds. And all the pastor could say is, "Father, forgive me." Now, when Pastor gets home, he's greeted by his wife, Decore, played by Uche. And right away, Pastor just wants to go upstairs and freshen up. Now, Decore can sense something is off, but she lets it go, and she goes to finish preparing dinner. Well, Pastor is in the shower, trying his best to wash away all that sin he just committed. And later that night, Decore does try to comfort and ease whatever is on Pastor's mind, but Pastor is so full of guilt that all he could do is ask the Lord to have mercy on him. So the next morning, Pastor is at church holding services, and all seems well until Damsel comes in, and Pastor is totally shocked to see her. And my people, she came in and took a seat like she was the first lady of the church. So anyway, that night, Decore and Pastor are in bed, and Decore wants Pastor to, make love to her, but he simply refuses. Now, Pastor is laying there, and he has a flashback to the day when Decore came to him and asked him to go and help a friend of hers who was in need of his counseling. Now, he's reluctant at first, but he then agrees. And Pastor is thinking he remembers the day he went to see Damsel. And my people, right away, she was very flirty with Pastor, but he does try to put her in check. And then he accepts a glass of water from her. And as he remembers, the next thing he knew, they were both naked on the floor. Now, Pastor was mortified because he realized that Damsel put something in his water. And you know what? She found the situation to be very delightful. Well, this thing weighed so heavy on Pastor's mind that he went home and confessed to Decore, and he begged for forgiveness. And Decore said it was okay and that everything is fine. But my people, no, it wasn't, because the more Decore thought about it, the more angry she became. Now, that wasn't the worst part, because back at Damsel's house, she was laying in bed fantasizing about Pastor. And she even had the nerve to show up to Pastor's house one day and announce that she was pregnant with his child. Now, my people, what I notice is that Damsel mostly wears red, and she has these piercing blue eyes, and she is set on stalking Pastor. Pastor does, however, try to pray and rebuke Damsel, but she will not let up, even going so far as to peep through his window. Wow. So one night, Pastor was downstairs praying, and Decore comes down very angry and told him he should shut up his mouth. And that really shocked Pastor. But I'll tell you, what shocked Pastor even more is that when Damsel found her way into Pastor's house, he yelled and rebuked her. But as usual, she found the whole thing to be very amusing. And she did leave, but not without reminding him that she and the baby miss him. My people, Damsel is truly mad because she went home and tried to feed spaghetti to a picture of Pastor. But anyway, one night, Pastor is very ill. So Decore is insisting that he go to the hospital. And my people, long story short, Pastor was diagnosed with HIV. Needless to say, Pastor was devastated, and Dakari was so upset that she started separating everything in fear that he might infect her. And she became so angry that she eventually packed her things and left. And at this point, Pastor could only cry out to the Lord for help. Well, my people, it gets worse, because even the people of his church turned against him, and he was asked to step aside and let someone else preach. Pastor tried to plead his case, but the church leaders were not trying to hear it. So now we have Pastor at his lowest, and Damsel is at home feeling bad about what Pastor is going through, so much that one day she came to his house and tried to help him by caring for him and actually cleaning the house as well as cooking. Now, when Pastor came to his senses, he really took out his anger on Damsel, and eventually told Damsel that he was HIV positive and that she infected him. Well, my people, Damsel went and she took a test, and guess what? She is negative. That's right, she's not HIV positive. So she suggested that Pastor go and ask his wife how he got infected. Well, my people, there is so much more about this movie to unpack. But here's the twist. It turns out that Pastor was dreaming the whole time. But it was also a premonition that actually revealed that Dakari was unfaithful to Pastor by sleeping with another man. Now, Dakari did ask for Pastor's forgiveness, and he did forgive her. So she thought all was fine until he told her that he forgives her from the bottom of his heart, but he cannot continue in this marriage. Dakari begged, but Pastor stood firm and he walked away. But Dakari still tried to act as though things would be fine, but Pastor let her know, please leave, because he could no longer look at her the same. Oh, and just so you know, Pastor took another test and he came out HIV negative. This movie was a lesson of faith, trust, and belief in God, but also about the temptations of the dark side. And I actually like the fact that it had a twist that I didn't see coming. And like I said, there's so much more to this movie to unpack. But I didn't want this review to be too long. Frederick and Uche did excellent in this movie, and actually so did Cynthia. My people, to get the full effect of this movie, you need to go and watch it if you haven't already. And you can actually watch it right here on YouTube at Frederick Leonard TV. Don't forget, please hit that like and subscribe button. And please let me know if you have any requests. And remember, get your Nollywood on. Bye for now.